Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Galactic Wisdom. I would like to start off by apologizing. I'm having technical issues. I'm doing this event today on my phone. My internet is down. My computer is broken and in the repair shop. So it's a little bit awkward for me today. I apologize if I'm taking a little bit longer to look around my screen and find my questions and things. But we have two guests with us today who have had some very, very interesting experiences. And so I'd like to introduce you to, Glenda Dawson is with us right now. Hi, Glenda. How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic, Rupert. How are you today?
Besides
good. My problem.
I'm surviving. I'm literally surviving. I'm going to start off by reading Glenda's bio to everybody. There's quite a lot in here. I apologize if I say some of the words incorrectly. You can correct me afterwards. Glenda Dawson, mystic, owner, and founder of Glenda's Magical Creations Spiritual Center in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, is an ordained non-denominational minister. She's a holistic and spiritual teacher, published author, Reiki Grand Master and teacher in various lineages and branches of Reiki. And this is where I'm having difficulty now with my computer stuff. Okay. A quantum vector practitioner, teacher, multi-dimensional matrix practitioner and teacher, celestial light code practitioner and teacher, galactic Egyptian earth shaman, DNA activation practitioner, renowned published multi-clair psychic medium, tarot angel card reader and teacher, experiencer, past life regression practitioner, animal communicator, multi-dimensional channeler, angelic communicator, channeler, healer, ascended masters communicator, channeler, conscious channeler, spiritual life, intuitive coach, mentor, paranormal investigator and remediator, and light language communicator. Did I miss anything off?
No, thank you.
That's a very impressive list. And I'd like to welcome Soraya Abdo. Did I say that right?
That's correct.
Soraya Abdo. And I have Soraya's bio here. Now, I've asked Soraya on this show because she has had some fascinating encounters with Sasquatch. Soraya first encountered Sasquatch face-to-face in the summer of 1993. Since then, she's had several close encounters with them. In the Steamboat Island area of Olympia, Washington, a family group showed themselves on a regular basis when she started using CE5, that's Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, or human-initiated contact with other beings, when she started using those protocols. There, Soraya learned the ways of Sasquatch and was helped by them several times. Good. Well, the tech seems to be working. We haven't been kicked off the air or anything, so this is fantastic. Soraya, I would like to start off by asking you about, you told me about an experience you had where there was a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch, I think it was leaned against your car and literally right outside your home. Can you tell us about that experience?
Certainly. I had been using the CE5 app, and it was the next day. He walked over and leaned on my truck like you're leaning up against a bar for your drink. And he just stood there and looked at me. And then I thought, this is really interesting. And then he went sort of invisible, kind of watery. And I looked at him and I said, I did not know you could do that. And he just stood there for about 10 minutes and then came back and then walked off.
Wow. Can you describe his appearance?
He was dark brown. He was about 9-10 feet tall. the average kind of basic Sasquatch look. Not very much facial hair, dark eyes. He wasn't menacing or anything. He was just kind of, you want to talk? I'm here. Check this out. This is something we can do. And I was scared because I was in shock for this experience, but he wasn't scary at all. And that kind of started an interaction.
Wow. I'm curious. You said not much facial hair, so you could. Is that because he shaved, or you could see like areas of his skin around him? Basically, he had a human hairless kind of face.
Human face, very expressive. He was staying very sweet faced for me. Not a grimace or anything. Never showed any teeth. Just. I'm here, and check this out, and now I'll leave you alone to kind of process it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you saw him kind of fade out of visibility.
He did. It looked very watery. It looked like water. Some people say it's like when you see heat on the highway, the waves. It was like that. But to me, it looked very, very watery and kind of phasing out of dimension.
Wow.
I could see through him.
People. Yeah, I'm sorry. You carry on.
I could see through him, and but I could see a mild outline, and then he phased back in.
Wow. So. Yeah, it sounds interdimensional to me, or some kind of high-tech cloaking, but I'm not sure that they would have that. And I was going to say a lot of people, feel like if we haven't found a Bigfoot yet, if we haven't got a proper good photo or video of a Bigfoot, they can't exist. But if they have the ability to just slip in and out of our dimensions, our three-dimensional space, then in an instant they can be gone, which is why we don't see them very often. Exactly.
They can be 4 foot at the shoulder and go behind a little 4-inch tree and disappear. And it's because they can cloak.
Wow. That's amazing. Now, Glenda, I didn't invite you on this show specifically to talk about Bigfoot or Sasquatch, but I'm curious, have you ever had any connections with them?
No, not personally. I have heard of friends that have had experiences, but I have not been lucky enough yet to experience that I know of. For all I know, they could be right next to me in the woods, and so
you'd never know.
Exactly. So.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Now, so Soraya, you've had a number of different experiences. I think, if I remember correctly, it's a few months since we talked about this, but there was one that you encountered on the road or by the edge of the road, and I seem to recall you hearing one yelling at you from just a few feet away or something.
Oh, I've had so many encounters with them. When I don't know if it's a territory sign or just a trail sign, but they will put the branch of one tree against another tree. And I was thinking, I really liked this one branch that they'd used. And I thought I might be able to use that in some of my decorating. And so I took it. And I was outside in my hot tub, and I heard them yelling at me. And they were standing at the spot where I'd taken it from. And I said, I'm sorry, I will put it back. I promise I will put it back. So I went ahead and put it back.
Wow.
But I knew I was kind of in trouble on that one.
What does their yelling sound like?
The first time one yelled at me, I thought it was speaking Russian. It's very loud. but very distinctive. I mean, you can tell you're being spoken to. I've also had the telepathy. So, and that's just English in your head, but since I speak English, but yeah, they've, one of them was, we were walking in the woods right at dusk, and there'd been a cougar around, and it started yelling at us. Like, it sounded very ape-like on that one. And I think it was trying to scare us out of the woods so that we'd be safe, because about half hour later, the cougar was walking by screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one was meant to scare us, and it kind of did.
I'm fascinated by one thing you said there, that even though verbally, when they're verbalizing, whatever you want to call it, yelling or talking or shouting, they have some kind of a language.
Very distinctive language, yes.
But when you're communicating with them telepathically, it comes across in English. And that's very interesting, because that's the same with aliens. They don't know all of our different languages.
Right.
When they speak to us, the meaning is portrayed to us, which our brains interpret into English. But I have been in remote viewing sessions to some of these beings before, where people are having the same communication with these beings, but one person is hearing English because they're English. Another person who was Japanese was hearing the same words in Japanese. It's fascinating. And Glenda, I would like to ask you, we're going to come back to Sasquatch in a little while, but I would like to ask Glenda about your experiences with dragons.
Well, they first started coming to me in my dreams, and really when I was a teenager. And I started to I've always realized I had this fascination with dragons. Like, I would go somewhere and see a statue of dragon, and I would be like right away, right to it. And it's like, oh, I want this, for my room, and I really need this, and posters and all that other stuff. And at that time, it was very hard to find, because like almost everything in those times, people thought that dragons were evil, that they were from the devil, because they defended themselves with fire or whatever. And so it was very hard to find anything. So whenever I found a piece, it was be like, I'm begging my parents, I really want this, and then they started to come really, really strong in my dreams, to the point where I wasn't sure if I was awake or asleep. It's like that, what they call that witching hour, between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. And my father actually decided to put alarm systems in our home, not to keep burglars out, but to know if I had woken up and started to walk outside or sleepwalk, because at that time they wanted me to go outside to communicate with them. And I was like, okay. And, I just go outside, and my father's like, all right, we found you outside in your pajamas, sitting there talking to something. We don't know what it was. We just scooted you back to bed. So, but they were, they kept trying to talk to me. And I finally was able to communicate one time, when I decided to go into a deep meditation for myself, and said, okay, this is your opportunity. Let's connect. There was nobody in the house. I was the only one there. Everything was quiet. And they basically told me that they're not here, like, from the devil. They don't even believe in that. That it's just that they're here. They've been here since the beginning of time. They were sent to protect humans, but humanity then started saying that they were evil and started killing them and all that. So they disappeared. So that was my very first actual encounter with them. And then I started being able to see them physically. So if I go somewhere and I get lost, for example, if I go into the woods wandering around just to walk in nature and I get lost, I call upon them and they appear physically, and then they kind of lead me back to where I am on the road or on the back on the trail or whatever. So it's a very, for me, it was very inspiring connection, because they also helped me. They helped me develop a system of Reiki that's called Dragon Reiki, and we use their energy to heal, to send healing energy to others. So,
Wow.
yes.
So you say that you see them physically. I just want to clarify this. This is not a seeing something with your third eye that the other people around you are not going to see.
Right.
If somebody was standing next to you and was not psychic at all, they would see like a physical dragon.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And
that's pretty extraordinary.
All my students have actually been able to see them once I attune them, and then once I show them how, because everything, like, contacting aliens and communicating with them and all that, or galactics, you have a procedure that works better. And not that it's the only way to do it, but it resonates with me, and that's how I teach it. So it's very interesting. And they come
it is
fascinating.
Colors.
And they do come in all different colors, people. It isn't just one color.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Now, I don't know what our audience is thinking out there. I know that some of our audience members will be thinking, oh, yeah, of course, they exist. But I'm sure that some of our audience members have accepted the idea, well, there's an afterlife, there's ghosts out there, have accepted the idea, yeah, there's probably aliens out there, maybe even Bigfoot, but dragons to some people, and to myself several years ago, that would have seemed a little bit fantastical. But I have actually done several remote viewing sessions where we have tried to connect with alien beings. And I think, Glenda, I told you about one of these. A couple of years ago, I was going to visit the San Luis Valley in Colorado, around the area of Mount Blanca, Zapata Falls, where there are supposedly alien beings living in those mountains. And so I put together a team of high-level remote viewers. We astrally projected to that location. We held hands, we connected in love and peace, and we cautiously approached those mountains and asked permission to come in and talk to the alien beings that were there. And we were invited in. We did go in, and different people in my group were seeing different things, and we came out. And I said, okay, what did people see? And somebody said, well, I saw a dragon. And I thought, oh dear, okay, no worries, never mind. We'll move on from that. But then somebody else said, I saw a dragon too. 3 or 4 people all saw a dragon. And when we went there in person, different people also were seeing dragons in those mountains. And we had a communication with the alien beings that live in those mountains, which are sort of like, they're kind of like ant-like beings, ant-like humanoids. And we saw these dragons, and those dragons are there to protect those beings that live in those mountains. And so now I've had several experiences where we have connected with dragons, and although I haven't seen one physically, it seems indisputable to me now that there are conscious entities out there on this planet that when we look at them, we connect them with what we have learnt as to be as dragons.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it's amazing because they are here to protect. We just haven't quite gotten it. lately.
Yeah. Thank you, Glenda. I'm going to ask Soraya another question. There was, I think you told me about a time when you were on a hike, you had injured yourself, a bad knee or something. Can you tell us about that experience?
Sure. I was out in the very, very farthest back of the woods that we could get on a walk with the dog. And I sprained my knee, and I didn't know that was possible, but you can't put any weight on it's like your leg is broken. You can't use it. And I looked around. There was nothing I could use as a crutch. Anything that was on the ground, all the branches that were on the ground were rotten. So there was nothing I could do. And the dog wasn't helping. I was asking her to go get help, and she was just tooling around. She was absolutely no help whatsoever. And so I said out loud, I know you guys are here. I know you watch me all the time. I need your help. I need to get out of here. I've got to go to the hospital. Something is very wrong. I can't walk. You need to carry me out. I know it's going to be weird, but I really need your help. And I got nothing. So I got madder. And I said, I know you're here. I know you're here. I know you're watching me. I know you listen to me all the time. I know you're here. I really need your help. You guys have got to get me out of here. And in my head, I heard, shove your thumb inside your knee and you'll be able to get out of the woods. And I started yelling again. And I said, that's not good enough. I can't walk. This hurts. I cannot walk. And once again, I heard, shove your thumb to the inside of your knee and you'll be able to walk out of here. So I said a few more choice words. And I was in a lot of pain. I could not walk. I was very scared. And there was no one around. I didn't have my phone with me. There was absolutely nothing I could do. So I pushed my thumb into my knee, and I found this spot where I could sort of walk. And it was absolutely excruciating. The neighbor heard me moaning and crying and carrying on, and stopped and got me to the hospital. But I got out of the woods by shoving my thumb into my knee. I was able to get out of the woods. But I know that was them helping me.
Wow.
But I sure was mad they didn't carry me.
It makes me want to go out hiking there and injure myself so that I can ask, come and carry me, get me to safety. But that's remarkable, because that shows a very high level of, you've got empathy, you've got intelligence,
yeah,
you've got spiritual ability.
Yeah.
How do they know that that is something that will help you get out of the woods? That's a high level of intelligence. So there's a lot to think about in that.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to thank people for your comments. I know Bill has put a number of comments up there. I want to apologize that I'm not addressing all of the comments, and I saw there was one earlier on. They're quite small on my screen, and I have to sort of strain to see them. But I have been able to read that people are fascinated by both of your experiences, and they're telling me things like, we need to have these ladies back on the show again individually and tell us more about your experiences. So yes, thank you very much. Now, Soraya, you thought that, am I right that you think that an increase in activity, an increase in communication with these beings happened when you started to follow what you describe as CE5 protocols? You started to meditate and reach out to beings that are out there, but you were trying to connect with alien beings, is that correct?
Correct.
And then
That's
the
exactly
Sasquatch
right.
came in.
Yes, yes. The next day. The first time I did it, the very next day was my first experience with them at that property. It was in August, and there was a teenager in a fur coat yelling at me in Russian, and I didn't know what was going on. And I realized it's a red-haired Sasquatch, and it's much smaller. It was a teenager. Yell at me and just gesticulating and carrying on, and yelled at me for a good 10 minutes. And I got very scared, and I closed my door, and then I got very angry because I was so afraid. And I opened the door and I said, "You need to leave. This is private property and you need to go." And I thought, God, we're probably saying the same thing. But he went on and on and on, and I never saw him again. The youngsters like to play with you. They like to be invisible and like touch you in the middle of the woods. So I would get touched all the time. It's called counting coup. It's a Native American thing too. You get as close to your enemy as you can and kind of freak them out. But the teenager, that's a teenager's game, and the teenagers would do that all the time.
Wow. These are remarkable experiences. Glenda, can I ask you, what is your process for communicating with dragons, or indeed any other beings that are out there? Because it's not just dragons you're communicating with, is that correct?
Correct. I communicate with like the Council of Nine, Council of Light Beings in general. Communicate with galactics in general, with almost anybody that is willing to talk to me, basically. Usually what I do is I find my inner peace, go to my zero core, and then just expand my energy outward. And that's the best way I can explain it. I've learned how to do that. And by doing that, it's kind of like I have a bubble where I invite different beings in. And they just then come in, and usually is telepathically, except for dragons, they've learned how to come in physically and talk to me, and I had to explain to them the very first time they were speaking to me, I have no idea what you're saying, so translate. I know two languages. I could speak to you fluently in Spanish or in English. French, I could probably handle it since I had that a lot, but just give me some words where I could understand. And I started to hear them definitely with my physical ear, which was the first few times. As much as I love speaking to everybody, it kind of freaked me out a little bit, I have to admit. I am human, and that like, what, did that just really happen? No, it didn't. Yes, it did. You go through that whole conversation to yourself. And then you come to terms like, yes, I mean, you called them in and you told them to speak to you, and they did. And why are you afraid? If they wanted to get rid of you, they could have done it at any point. They didn't have to be visible to you or anything like that. So it's once you let go of that hesitation, it's just easy for me. I have to say, for me, because I finally got to that place where I'm open. And I'm open to, that's why it's so easy to speak to animals. And that's why it's so easy to speak to anybody or anything, including people who are trying to communicate. And I don't read minds, people, because I know that's an invasion of privacy. But if you're looking at me and you're saying, like, let's talk. So I will talk to you telepathically. So, but I don't read minds because I know that's an invasion of privacy. Oof, no. And nobody wants to be in my head.
Do you know, Glenda, the names of any of the dragons?
Yes, they do. Each one of them has a different name that has presented themselves to me. I have gotten what they call a king dragon, and his name starts with an A, and it's very hard for me to pronounce, so I just say A. But each one of them does have a name that they go by, that they have given themselves. And there are families, and there is a hierarchy, and the workers versus the ones up here. And although we have that too as human beings, it seems like they have it so perfectly well established. There's no jealousy. There's none that I have found. It just works like a well-oiled machinery. Just everybody just does whatever they have to do. And I have seen like kings and queens basically done what the workers have to do, because the work has to get done. So that's just a title, but everybody does whatever needs to get done. So I wish humanity would be that way.
Yes. I think when any being is telepathic, empathic, when they have that spiritual connection with each other to the extent that they really can feel each other's emotions, then the emotions of others become more important. To each other, and the happiness of one is the happiness of everybody, all of them, and the sadness of one is the sadness of all of them, and they do work collectively far better with each other than I think human beings usually do.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, Glenda, in our popular culture, there are a number of fictional dragons. I mean, I'm thinking about Smaug, the dragon in The Hobbit. You've got Game of Thrones dragons. You've got Dragon Slayer. There's a long list of. I'm thinking of Puff the Magic Dragon when I was a kid. Do you think that any particular dragon in movies or TV is which of those do you think is most accurate to the appearance of real dragons?
Well, the most accurate to appearance to real dragons is more like snake-like skin, scales. They have teeth, really nice sharp teeth. They do have, some of them do have like the full, what do you call that?
Like a crest?
Like a crest all the way down. But that depends on how old they are. I have found that the younger ones have less of a crest. They still have, you could still see where it would be growing, but it's kind of like a rite of passage, I guess, to explain it easier. But the older they are, the more vibrant, the more beautiful they are. And it's not necessarily that the females are more beautiful than the males. They're both very royal looking. Some have iridescent colors that, depending on how the light shines, you see different. You could see turquoise or blue or purple, and just so it's not exactly what people think, but they're not as scary looking as movies make it out to be. It isn't Godzilla or anything like that. It isn't Puff the Magic Dragon either, but it's somewhere in between. And I do believe they show themselves as scary as they need to show themselves to protect the family, to protect whoever they're protecting. If you go into their area being arrogant and disrespectful and wanting to trash everything, they will be a little more scary. But, if you go in there with just like, I just want to talk to you. I want to communicate with you. I want to join in. I understand, you're a different species, because they are, than we are. And let's just figure out what we are to each other, because like I said, their story is from day one of existence. So it's pretty fascinating.
Do they have wings?
Yes, and they all fly.
They do fly?
Yes, they do. They do fly.
I was interested. I'm a bit of a sci-fi and fantasy movie nerd, and they were when they made The Hobbit with Smaug the dragon, they were not getting the dragon quite right, and they had this one the scene when Smaug comes out of the mountain layer where he is, and I think they changed between the first, second, and the second movie and the third movie, perhaps, how many arms and legs and wings the dragon had. Do real dragons have 2 legs, 2 arms, and separately 2 wings, or are the wings attached to the front 2 arms like a bird?
The ones that I have experienced have the 2, for intents purposes, 2 legs, 2 arms, but some have 4 wings.
Oh,
yes, those are the ones I have. Some have 2, but some have 4, and it, from what I understand, is their way of saying, okay, well, you guys some have red hair, some have dark hair. It's the same thing. Some have light blue eyes and some have black eyes. So it's just basically that's their way of each being individual within their community.
Yeah. And how big is the largest dragon that you've seen? Are we talking like T-Rex from Jurassic Park, or is it more like an elephant size?
No, I have seen like 10 floors of height.
10 floors of height.
Yes.
So they are.
Those were definitely the little bit more scary to me. Oh, okay. and I'm a short woman, so for me, I look up and I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble. I know I did something.
Yeah,
it is, but I'm in trouble. So
I think we're all short in comparison to that.
Yes, but those are, those I've only seen once or twice. So
yeah. I'd like to ask both of you the same question, and that is, why do you think you have been successful at making contact with these different beings? Soraya, would you like to answer that first? Why have they shown an interest in you? Is it just because that's where you were living? Or do you think there's more to it than that?
I think there's more to it than that. I've kind of researched that question for a few years, and I've always had abilities that I really couldn't explain. I knew I was going to be a camp counselor before I was a camp counselor, before it was even offered. I've always sort of known stuff and seen stuff, and I'm also one of those people with special blood, so the AB negative people. So I think it's a combination of wanting to and just always having been open to be able to see other things and realms. And
yeah,
I think it's a combination. I think you really have to want to. I know there's a lot of hunters that don't want to see them that end up seeing them. But I think to have communication, the way I've had communication, I think it's because I asked for it. I specifically said, I would like to get to know you. And I did not know that they were there. I was trying to get in touch with, I'd met a couple of beautiful blue ET that showed up one day. I was trying to astral project and I wasn't doing it right. I don't know what I was doing wrong, but I wasn't doing it right. And they showed up in a doorway and they talked to me for a minute, but all they did was give me a headache. I don't know what they were saying. And so I was trying to recreate that. And instead I started talking with them and they started leaving what I call trail signs. They would leave sticks in the shape of Norse runes on the trails. And they would just kind of let me know, hey, you should look over here, and this is a hunting blind, and hey, you should look over here. We did some really cool engineering over here. So I think it's kind of the combo platter more than anything.
Yeah. Fascinating. How about you, Glenda?
Well, I'm agreeing. You have to really want to. You have to be open and surrender to the fact that we are not the only ones here. There's no way. This is a very big world, a very big universe, and we cannot be the only ones that exist. So once you get that into your brain, because the brain has to agree with you, you just sit there and you let it happen. And the experiences could be wonderful, spiritually moving, because you understand so much more with just one experience. It's like it opens up a full channel of understanding and empathy, and things make sense then.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, it's just like, wow, now I understand why this happened and this happened, and this. It's just, it's the wonder of it all. It really is. It's the wonder, the amazing experiences, but you do have to want to, and you have to also get in there without fear. Once you're able to let go of that fear, you'll be able to experience a lot more, and not just dragons or galactics. I mean, any entity or creature or beings that are around us. They could be right here, and because I choose not to see them, they're like going like, hello, we're here. And but if I choose to see them and experience it, and I know that a lot of people have had negative experiences, but I've been very blessed because I go with respect and I tell them, I'm not here to harm anybody. I just want to know about you. I just want to know what you're about. What are you here for? Why are you hiding even? So that's a big way of looking at things.
Yeah. I agree with, what both of you said there. I travel around the country, the US quite a lot, and maybe this year, one or two other countries, I'm not sure yet, but I host every year hundreds of in-person alien contact events. I go outside with a group of people. We reach out to any beings that are there. We ask them to come in. Now there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people around the world doing this sort of thing, but I feel like the success that I am having with my groups is unusual, and the reason is, I actually have alien friends. I know them, just like you two, can communicate with beings. I communicate with beings also. And I know the reason is because when we go into a situation where we're trying to connect with other beings, we're not doing it for a thrill. We're not doing it for a light show. We're not doing it to get their technology, to get something from them. We are connecting, first of all, with ourselves as a group of humans in peace, in love, to extend that to other species, to all species in a non-discriminatory way. That is what they respond to. And that is why me and my groups, we've had some communication with dragons. That is why we've actually had some communication with Bigfoot or Sasquatch. We've had them come in many times. People have seen them at our events, never physically yet, but we've had different people seeing the same beings and hearing the same beings psychically. We've had Bigfoot young come in and give us hugs, sort of spiritually, and people can see that and feel that. We've had a lot of success. I have another question for both of you. If hypothetically, I were to meet up with each of you wherever you are in the US, I'm thinking, if I were to meet up with you and have a group event in which, say, 10 to 20 people are outdoors, connecting together in love and reaching out to dragons in love and to Sasquatch in love and in peace, do you think with your connection to them, do you think if you were to participate, do you think you might be able to get them to appear physically to the group for no other reason other than just to share peace, love, friendship?
That's a good question.
I'm going to I'll ask Soraya first.
I honestly don't know. I just had to move from the property, and I don't know how they feel about it. I think they've been by once to check on me. It would so have to be up to them if they felt comfortable. I don't know that my presence would make a difference. I don't know that because I think that they read everybody individually, and if they felt comfortable and safe, I think they would be open to it. But I don't know that that's just because I'm there. I think it's because the heart is open and the spirit is open and the intent is non-threatening and loving. It'd be fun to try out, but I don't know that my being personally would affect it anyway. If I was on that property, there was a couple places that I would take people and sit, and they might show up. But now that I'm not there, I don't know if they would. I know they can portal in and out wherever they want to be. So if they wanted to show up where I am now, they certainly could. I think they've been here once or twice, but not like the other property.
Okay. You're up in Washington, right, Soraya?
Correct. Yeah.
Are you anywhere near Mount Adams?
No, I'm located out on the peninsula, by the rainforest, on the coast, by the rainforest, way up in the boonies.
Okay, I've had some Sasquatch experiences on Mount Adams, towards the south of Washington.
They can portal anywhere, so I mean, they literally go anywhere.
Okay,
it doesn't matter.
Well, who knows? Maybe this year that we'll meet up and get to try that out. How about you, Glenda?
I do believe that they would show up for me, not because of anything, but since I have taught the classes that they have given to me, and they have shown up for my students, as long as they do the step-by-step. So it's not a guarantee, of course, because that's still up to them. And I always make sure to tell them, we're not forcing you. But if you do decide, please show up. So I believe that there's a good chance, but I'm not guaranteeing anything. So, but it's just,
okay.
It just depends. And like Soraya said, it all depends on them. If they read it, one individual that is hesitant, they're not going to do it.
Yeah, they don't want to scare anybody.
No.
They don't want to scare people.
Yeah.
They really don't.
Yeah. We're moving towards the end of this session. I've seen that Bill is letting us know we have about 3 minutes left now. Maybe just quickly, each of you can answer this question. I don't know if you know the answer. Do dragons and do Bigfoot have any connection with alien beings, extraterrestrials, whatever name, galactics, whatever we choose to call them? Glenda?
Yes, they do. They also came from other planets. And they didn't originate here, but they were in the very beginning of Earth. So they were sent to protect those so-called humans that started here. So which at that point were galactics. It's a little complicated, but yeah.
Thank you very much. Soraya, what do you think?
What I found out is Dr. Melba Ketchum did a DNA study on them, and she found that the mother is human, female, and the father is unknown, completely not in the genome whatsoever. And there have been people who've reported that they're kind of afraid of ET. But I believe they're a hybrid, and I think they get along with some and they don't get along with others, just like any other being in the universe.
Fantastic. At this point, I would love to tell you all my theories about where Sasquatch came from, dragons, and it all fits in with aliens. But we've run out of time, so we'll have to do that another time. Thank you, both of you, so much for being here.
Thank
Your
you.
experiences are fascinating, wonderful, very wise, I think, because these beings are clearly connecting with you, not just because of abilities you have, but because of your characters. And if our audience members are thinking about what can we do to have these relationships, just try and be the best person you can be. Remove all negativity from yourselves, and just reach out to beings in love. My final word is going to be, if people are interested in learning more, please join me in my Galactic Wisdom Facebook group, where we do lots of cool stuff, and we teach a lot more than we talk about in this show. Thank you so much, both of you, for being here. Thank you very much to my audience members. Goodbye, everybody, for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.